This video will discuss how to do long division and synthetic division on polynomials. For the first example, let's divide 4x cubed minus 23x plus 3 by 2x minus 5. So I first want to just name a couple of these parts. This first polynomial is the dividend. It is what the other polynomial will be dividing into. And 2x minus 5 is called the divisor. Let's set this up using the long division bar. The divisor goes on the outside here, and we just want to make sure that there are no missing terms. So 2x, that is the x to the power of 1, and then after that we have the constant. So there are no missing terms, so we can write 2x minus 5 out here. Now the dividend is going to be written on the inside, and again, we do not want to have any missing terms. If there is a missing term, we need a placeholder. So if we look at the dividend, this is 4x cubed, so we can start off by writing 4x cubed here, and then after we write the x cubed term, we would write the x squared term, and you will notice that there is no x squared term here in the problem, which means that we will need to include a placeholder here. And the way that we include a placeholder is we will write plus 0 x squared. And this will create a column for all of the other x squared terms that we will encounter throughout this problem. After we have put the placeholder into effect, we now continue and we see that the next term below the x squared is an x, and we do have a term with an x in it, so negative 23x, and then after that is the constant plus 3. So our first step is to take the leading term here, which is 2x, and divide it into the leading term here of 4x cubed. So how many times can 2x divide into 4x cubed? In essence, I'm going to do this on the side. What I'm saying is 4x cubed is divided by 2x how many times? And we simplify that, we're going to get 2x squared. So you are going to end up taking this 2x squared and putting that on the top here in the x squared column. So right here, we're going to write 2x squared. And now we are going to multiply this 2x squared times this entire polynomial, and we will write the answer down here below. So 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed, and 2x squared times negative 5 is negative 10x squared. Now, if you remember back to when you did division with just basic numbers, so for example, something like 37, I'm doing this off on the side, so 37 divided by, let's say, 2, you would say, okay, how many times does 2 divide into 3? Okay, that goes in one time. And then just like we did for this polynomial, you would say 1 times 2 is 2, and you put that number down here. And what do you remember doing at this point? Well, you took the 3 and you subtracted the 2 from that. So in essence, you change the sign of the 2 to make it into a subtraction problem. And we would say then, okay, 3 minus 2 is 1. And then we would continue by dropping down our next number, 7, and asking ourselves how many times will 2 go into 17? And then you would continue doing division and put that number up here. I'm going to pause for a moment just to point out that at this particular step, we subtracted this number, and we need to do the same thing here in the polynomial. It's not sufficient to just put a minus sign there, because you need to subtract this entire binomial. So one option that I personally like to do is I change the signs of this entire polynomial. So this becomes negative, and I circle it to say that I've already made a sign change. So when I go back to check my work, I know that I started as a positive and then it turned to a negative 4x cubed. Also, I need to change the sign of that number. So I'm going to circle that to say that I changed the sign from a negative to a positive. Again, you don't have to use this technique. This is just something that I have found to be helpful. What we're going to do now is we are going to combine these like terms, and that is going to get us 4x cubed minus 4x cubed. Those will add up to 0. And now 0x squared plus 10x squared is 10x squared. Now, just like we did off on the side with this division problem of numbers, we said that after we change the sign and then combine like terms, we drop down the next number. We're going to do something similar here as well, where we are going to drop down the next term. So that means we want to write negative 23x because that is what is going to be dropped down. Now we are going to continue the division process over again by asking how many times does this leading term divide into the leading term down here. So 10x squared divided by 2x gets us a positive 5x, and we will write positive 5x up here in the x column. This is a process that you will do the same thing, the same technique over and over, and just be updating your numbers as you move along. So once we put the number up top, you're going to say 5x times the entire binomial, and you will put the answer down here. So 5x times 2x is 10x squared. And then 5x times negative 5 is negative 25x. And before we are allowed to combine these, we need to subtract the second polynomial, but subtracting the second polynomial is the same thing as changing both of the signs. So I can make this into a negative, and again, I personally circle it so that I remember later that that was my sign change. And I also am going to make that negative into a positive, and I'm going to circle that to say that it was a sign change. So when we combine these like terms, 10x squared minus 10x squared is gone, and negative 23x plus 25x is 2x. So one more time, we now want to take this constant and drop that down. So we are going to do our arrow down, and we will put plus 3. And then we want to ask ourselves, how many times does this leading term divide into this leading term? So 2x divided by 2x is 1, and that is the number that will go up top. So plus 1. And to finish this out, we're going to say 1 times 2x gets us 2x. And then we're going to say that 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. And when we change the signs in that second polynomial, we will get a negative there, and this will get us a positive here. When we combine like terms, 2x minus 2x is 0, and 3 plus 5 is 8. I'm going to momentarily pause and go back and finish this problem here on the side. We had said 17 divided by 2, and that was our next step. So that the number that can go in the most would be 8. And 8 times 2 is 16. We would then change the sign, and that would get us 1. So think back to what this number here represented. This number we called the remainder. And similarly, for our problem here, we are going to take this number and call it the remainder. So this number is our remainder. And everything that we got on the top of the line up here, so everything that we got up top, that is called the quotient. So the way that we answer this question and write the answer, and I'm going to put the answer up here, is we say that the solution is the quotient of 2x squared plus 5x plus 1, and then you have to write the remainder divided by the divisor. So because the remainder is positive, I'm going to say positive 8 divided by, and then remember that our divisor was 2x minus 5, so that goes down here, 2x minus 5. So the final answer to this problem is 2x squared plus 5x plus 1 plus 8 divided by 2x minus 5. This process is called long division. However, there is another type of division that can be used, which is called synthetic division. However, synthetic division can only be used when your divisor, which would be this, is in the form of x plus a number or x minus a number. You could not have a number in front in order to do synthetic division. So for this particular problem, because the divisor had a 2 here, we had to do long division. But in our next example, we can do a problem where you can see how synthetic division can be used. It's much quicker, it's a lot less work, but it only works when your divisor is in the form x plus a number or x minus a number. So here is example 2, and you will notice that we are having a divisor of x minus 3. So we can use synthetic division here. And to set this problem up, what we're going to do is look at the number inside of the divisor. It's a minus 3. So you are going to start off by drawing a little half box on the left and putting the opposite of negative 3 here. So if it's x minus 3, you're going to end up putting a positive 3 here. So positive 3. Now, you are going to write the numbers of the coefficients in the dividend to the right of that number. And just like in the problem before, if you need a placeholder, like if a term is missing, then you would put the placeholder of 0 there. So we're starting off with 4x cubed, so we will put the 4 here. We're going to leave a little space. There is no x squared term, which means we need to put 0 here. We would check now there is an x term. The coefficient is negative 28. So we'll put negative 28 there. And then last but not least, the constant is negative 7. So we'll put negative 7 there. And again, there's a little bit of a gap in between those numbers. So the way we do synthetic division is you always drop down that first number, and then we're going to draw a line that everything is going to be underneath. So the 4 is going to go underneath that line. Next, you're going to take this 3, you're going to multiply it by 4, and you're going to put the product here. So 3 times 4 is 12. Then you are going to add these two numbers. 0 plus 12 is 12. And we're going to keep this process up again and again. So let's start by doing this. 3 times 12 is 36. So let's write 36 here. And negative 28 plus 36 is 8. So we'll write 8 here. And then 3 times 8 is 24. So we're going to write 24 here. And then negative 7 plus 24 is 17. And that's it for the work. Now we just need to interpret this answer. The very last number here will always be your remainder, always. And then from right to left, you will be working up from your remainder. So if this right here is your remainder, then this is going to be your constant term, which is just a number. That means that the 12 is going to be your x term, and then that means that the 4 will be x squared. The answer is 4x squared plus 12x plus 8. That is our quotient. And then this number that is a remainder, remember that we always write the remainder divided by the divisor. So we're going to have plus 17 divided by x minus 3. And this would be the answer we get of dividing those two polynomials. I do want to make one comment before doing our last example that we worked from right to left to label those numbers to get the variables. However, you could always start from the first number and work your way down. So remember that if you're dividing an x cubed by an x, that this number is going to represent the term that is one smaller than this. So x cubed divided by x will get you x squared, and that is the variable that will go here. So if you start with x squared, you could work down to x, which works down to a number, which works down to your remainder. So you have choices on the way that you label these coefficients. Either way, you will get the same answer. For the last example, let's divide negative 3x plus 7x cubed plus 5 plus 2x to the fourth by the quantity x plus 1 using both of these methods. So first, let's do long division. And the divisor for this case is x plus 1. So we're going to write x plus 1 to the left. And as the dividend, we need to make sure we put that in descending order. Therefore, that is going to leave us with 2x to the fourth plus 7x cubed. We do not have an x squared term, so 0x squared. And then that will go to negative 3x plus 5. All right, now we are going to take this x and divide it into 2x to the fourth, and that is going to get us 2x cubed. So 2x cubed times x plus 1 will get us 2x to the fourth power plus 2x cubed. Now we want to subtract, so I'm going to change those signs, and 2x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth will go away, and 7x cubed minus 2x cubed is 5x cubed. Let's go ahead and bring down the 0x squared and repeat the process of 5x cubed divided by x is 5x squared, so plus 5x squared. Now let's take 5x squared and multiply by x plus 1, and that is going to give us 5x cubed plus 5x squared. To subtract, we're going to change both of these signs, so subtract, we'll change signs. 5x cubed minus 5x cubed will go away, and 0 minus 5 is negative 5 for the x squareds. We're going to now bring down negative 3x, and we are going to take negative 5x squared divided by x to get negative 5x. Negative 5x. So negative 5x times x plus 1 is going to leave us with negative 5x squared minus 5x. And when I subtract, this will become a positive, and this will become a positive. The x squared terms will cancel out, and negative 3x plus 5x is 2x. And then one more time, we'll bring down the constant. So bring down the plus 5. And 2x divided by x is 2. So plus 2 will go up here. And then 2 times x plus 1 will leave us with 2x plus 2. And when I subtract, this will become a minus, and this will become a minus. The 2x's cross out, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have a remainder of 3. Therefore, the answer to this problem is 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 5x plus 2, and then the remainder 3 will be divided by the divisor x plus 1. We will now do the exact same problem using synthetic division. So for synthetic division, you are going to look at the x plus 1 to get a negative 1, which is going to go in that little half box. And again, we want all of the coefficients of the dividend to be written out here in descending order, which it currently is not. So the leading coefficient is 2 because of the 2x to the fourth. X cubed is going to have a coefficient of 7. X squared has a coefficient of 0. X has a coefficient of negative 3, and the constant is 5. So we're going to drop down our 2 and put that number under our line. And then negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. That goes here. We're now going to add like terms, so 7 minus 2 is 5. Negative 1 times 5 is going to go here at negative 5. 0 minus 5 will get us negative 5. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have the remainder at the end. And this time I'm going to label the variables going from left to right. The last time I went from right to left, starting with the remainder and working my way up. But this time I'm going to start with the 2 in the front and I'm going to work my way down. So because I'm dividing x to the 4th by x, this will be 1 power less than x to the 4th, which means that will be x cubed. So x cubed, that means this is x squared, that is x. This would be my constant or just my number, and then 3 is the remainder. So doing it this way, we see that we get a result of 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 5x plus 2, and the remainder of 3 will be divided by the divisor x plus 1. And you will notice that the answer doing synthetic division comes out to be exactly the same as the answer that we got by doing long division.